Hey everybody, Zach here. Hopefully you're all having an amazing day. Today I want to talk to you about why calling your friends and family in MLM never ever works. And I know it's a little bit controversial, but it's true. And I want to share this with you guys today with some lessons that we learned from the ocean in Bali. So in a second, I'm going to cut over to the video here that we took in Bali and share those insights with you right now. But if you'd like, I want to let you know of a public group that you can be a part of. It's a group that we started at MLM Rebels that you can join the discussion and get some very valuable information and talk with other people that are doing this exact same thing. It's the fourth link in the description down below. And so now we're going to go over and cut to that video. Hey, what's going on, guys? Zach and Ashley here. We're sitting here at Kuta Beach in Bali. There's Ashley. And we've been here for about, how long have we been here? 2 weeks. We've been here for 2 weeks. We're in Ubud for about a month, which is in the center of the island. And then we went to Malaysia for a month, and then we came back to Bali just to learn how to surf. And we've had a lot of fun, and we've learned a lot of cool lessons. One of the biggest lessons that we learned is manipulating the waves, okay? And I'm gonna tell you why this is important in a second. But the first day that we went out to catch big waves, called green waves, green waves mean that they're the ones that are further out. They're the big ones. White waves are the tiny ones. That's where you start. So we started to do the green ones, the ones further out. And the first day that we went out, I got really tired because we went out for like 2.5 hours because my instructor's a crazy man. But the real reason I got tired is because you're paddling out to get these big waves. You're paddling. You're paddling for hours, 2 or 3 hours, okay? And your shoulders are burning to death. Your chest is sore, your back is sore, everything is sore. Why? Because you're paddling against the water. But the water is actually not that resistant, right? I mean, it is, but it's not. What's resistant is the current coming at you. So you're paddling against the current, all right? And so we're doing this for like 3 hours, and you're doing this for so long, by the time you catch a wave, you're already exhausted. And so by the end of the lesson, my instructor says, hey Zach, do you know why you're tired? I said, number one, your shoulders are out of shape, but number two, you're tired because you're fighting the current. I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like, let me show you something. Look at those waves right there. You can look at them behind me now, maybe you see them. But there's big waves, and then in the center of 2 big waves is no wave. That's called a current. He said, you wanna go find the current and lay on your board and just paddle a little bit and it'll pull you right out. I was like, oh. You ever heard of a rip current before? People getting dragged out to sea, never to be seen again? Okay, you actually want to use a rip current to your advantage. You get dragged out and then you stop, you go sideways and you catch a wave back in. That's how you survive a rip current, by the way. I was like, oh, this is fantastic. See, what I learned is you want to go with the current, not against it. And I was like, I started thinking like, oh my gosh, how many times have we like not done that? Like in business, right? Like I spent the first 6.5, 7 years of my business career going against the current, fighting against the current. Everyone in the marketplace and every human being told me that what I was doing was stupid, it was not good. And you know what? Sometimes you need to tell those people to shut up and just, go away. And sometimes there's a time and place for that. But sometimes you need to listen to what the market is telling you, which I should have done years and years and years ago. And what I should have done is listen and be like, oh my gosh, I'm going against the current of the marketplace. I'm going against the current of what actually is acceptable in people's minds right now. And that's why I had so much trouble getting any sort of success those first 6 years. But once we changed things and we started figuring out, oh my gosh, instead of doing home and hotel meetings, instead of talking to friends and family, instead of stalking people like gas stations or cold trolling people, instead of doing all of those silly things that is going against the current, what if I just go with the current, right? What if I did that? What if instead of doing all of those things, I created systems to bring people to me using my cell phone, using the computer, using Instagram, using Facebook, using whatever? What if I created systems that automated people to want to come and get information from me about my business in a way that they actually wanted to consume information? What if it could be done? That's called going with the current. So what does it look like to be going with the current? Well, for us and for a lot of others, it looks like using online sales funnels. That's what we talk about and what we teach in MLM Rebels. It's what our team uses, and it's what a lot of really successful networkers use. It's what some of our clients use to recruit abnormal amounts of people. Like we're talking like a person every single day, personally, not including the depth of 50,000 people. These are with online sales funnels that we've developed with them or for them. And this is a lot of stuff that we talk about in MLM Rebels. So I'm going to give you guys a few examples of what those are right now. And just so you know, we have a webinar that teaches these exact things. If you'd like to attend that, you can. You don't have to, but that's the 5th link in the description just below the group. So I encourage you to join the group and I encourage you to attend that webinar to get a good foundational understanding of everything that we talk about. But a couple examples would be, I'll give you a basic one, right? So the funnel, actually this is not, it is basic, but it's extremely effective. So for instance, this is a type of situation that produces hundreds of phone numbers or leads to call within a 12-hour period. So the antithesis to this, or the exact opposite of this, would be, cold contacting people, right? You call all your friends and family, nobody gets in, or maybe a few people get in, but it's not enough to build any sort of freedom, right? So you need to go out and build a team outside of those friends and family. So what do? You cold contact people, right? Or maybe you buy a list or whatever. But the point is, you're doing something to acquire people that you can call. Now, I did cold contacting for 6 years. We got pretty good at it, but I will tell you it's a slow and arduous process, and not everybody is cut out for it. And I'm not saying that in like a way that like you should be cut out for it. Honestly, it's, even if you're good at it, that's like one of the worst things, because then you continue to think that it's a good idea. So it's actually better if you're bad at it, to be quite honest with you. So this is a alternative to cold contacting, spamming your Facebook, spamming your Instagram, buying a list, or anything like that. Okay. So what we do is we create a funnel, a sales funnel. Okay, we basically create an application-based sales funnel where we attract people to us online. We attract people to us, and then we get them to fill out our application. Then we can call them about our business. Okay, so here's kind of what it looks like. The first thing that we need to do is we need to identify the type of person that we want on our team, right? So for me, for my wife, for us, it's usually people that are 30 and above, okay? Because we're 30, and just from experience, anyone under like 25, 26 is generally not that fun to work with, because they don't have stable finances and they're not stable mentally yet. They're chasing every shiny object imaginable. And so we've had a lot better luck with people above 25, 26, 27. They're already established in a corporate career or some sort of a career, or maybe a business or something. And that's who we go after, okay? Now, typically, we like to also go after people with similar viewpoints as ours. Not necessarily political, but things that will, kind of like seem in that realm, all right? So we have tons of people from all over the board, politically, spiritually, and things like that, but people who like view the world similarly, that's who we go after. So we know that that's who we want, and so we try to attract that demographic through our messaging, okay? So we want to find out, where do these people congregate? Now for us, most of those people are on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. So we have a bit of a wide gambit there. I'm going to give you an example using Instagram, okay? So for instance, we're going to go on Instagram, and we're going to either write an ad, make a post, or anything like that. And if you don't have a big following, don't worry about it. You don't need a big following to do this. You can easily pay somebody with a big following, $100, and they'll make a post for you. And it's really, really, really worth it. So you make a post on Instagram, right? And then you send that traffic, and your post says something like, hey, do you want to make passive income, right? Or do you want to make money 24 hours a day? Or, if you made $100,000 a year, that's only $11 an hour if you make money 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Do you want to learn how to do that? So that's your post, right? You make the post, you put it on Instagram, they click on the link, and they're taken to a landing page. And the landing page basically says, do you want to, the same thing, do you want to make money 24 hours a day? This is how I do it. A little short description, blah, 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 blah. Do you want more information? Enter your name, email, and phone number, and we'll get you more information. It's that simple. They do that, they enter the name, email, and phone number. The next page is a thank you page with some homework for them to do before you call them, as well as a more in-depth application. The point of the in-depth application, believe it or not, is to sift out all the people that filled out form number 1. So I'll give you an example. The last one that we personally did, we spent $200, and we pulled on 900 phone numbers, over 900. That's insanity. Now, of those, there's a lot of people overseas that we couldn't work with because we don't operate there, but in the US and Canada and countries that we could operate in, I think we had something like 300 phone numbers that we could call, which is insane. That's a ton. It's way too many to call in a few hours. But just stop for a second and think about that. That's 300 phone numbers. I mean, I'm using this phone to record, so I can't use the calculator, but check this out. If I was cold contacting, I used to go cold contacting every single night of the week, 5 days a week, every day of my life, or for five and a half, 6 years straight. Let's say I'm above average in my action, not my abilities, but my action. So I was talking to about 5 to 15 people every single night. Let's call it 10. So I contact 10 people a day, 5 days a week. That's 50 a week. That's 200 a month. Now, on an average night, I would actually get about 2 phone numbers or so, okay? So that's 2 phone numbers every single day. So that's 10 a week. That's 40 a month. So that means in 6 months, I would pull 240 phone numbers from people that wanted to learn about my business. And I would spend about $10 a day in gas driving around to these different gas stations and Targets and Walmarts. So $10 a day in gas is $50 a week. That's $200 a month. 200 times 6, that's $1,200 a month in gas. So I spent $1,200. I spent 3 hours a night doing it. So that's 3 hours a night times 5, 15 hours. That's 60 hours a month. That is 60 times 6. That's I spent 360 hours, $1,200, and I got myself 240 phone numbers to call about my business. Except, well, yeah, let's just leave it there. Let's pretend everything's being equal. Pretend those people actually wanted to talk to me, right? Alternative, I spent $200. I spent about, let's call it a week building the funnel. It took me about an hour, but that's because I had experience. So call it a week building the funnel. I spent $200 a week building the funnel. I spent, and I got 300 phone numbers to call, the people that wanted to learn about my business, and they came to me in an attractive way where they actually want to do what I'm doing, right? Because most people don't want to go cold contacting people or calling their friends and family. They want to do something that's cool, like building the home-based business from home. Who would have thought? So that's the opportunity we gave them. Okay, so now you have 300, you have all these, you have 900 phone numbers that just came in. Why the application? The application is to sift out all of those people so that you know who to call first. Because if 300 people come in for you to call, you want to know who's most important, right? So we give a more in-depth application. The people that fill that out, we know they're our hottest targets. We're going to call them first. Then we're going to call the other 300, and then the other 600. We're just going to, give them something to, like, something to consume, like a nice little gift or something. But we'll let them know, like, I'm sorry, we can't work together because you're, not in the country that we operate in. But guys, you see how that makes sense? Do you see how much more effective that is than calling friends and family? Do you see how that's going with the current? So if this is of interest to you, I hope that you take this information and that you apply it, that you study more. Something that Ashley and I believe in very heavily is that you don't take everything that you learn from us as gospel, right? Like, we want you to do it, we want you to try it, but we want you to question the things that we say and we do. We want you to come to your own conclusions and make your own opinions. We encourage creative thinking, unlike a lot of network marketing companies and gurus out there. We want you to make your own decisions. We want you to be independent. We want you to think for yourself. And so we encourage you to have that creative thought process and to test these things. And like I said, if you'd like to attend that upcoming webinar, you're more than welcome to. It's the 5th link in the description, and you can get into a lot of the, basically everything that we do to build our business. And so we're happy to share that with you on that webinar. Lastly is the group. You're more than welcome. In fact, we encourage you to join that free group. It's the 4th link in the description down below. I want you to join that group and join the discussion and learn as much as you possibly can so that you can stop going against the current, go with the current, and hit the results that you desire. So with that, guys, we love you, appreciate you, and I'll talk to y'all soon.